Hi, my name's Lisa McIntosh, and this is an overview of the Kirkpatrick 4-level training evaluation model. I put this presentation together for a double diploma that I'm currently studying on professional training and assessment here in Sydney, Australia. I hope you enjoy. According to the Kirkpatrick partners, the definition of learning strategy is a planned and systematic approach to developing skills and knowledge in a learner. Johnson and Scholes define it as strategy is the dimension and scope of any organisation over the long term which achieves advantage for the organisation through its configuration of resources within a challenging environment, meeting the needs of the market, and to fulfil stakeholder expectations. The aim is to avoid wasting valuable time, resources and money on a training program that is either irrelevant or has a small positive impact on outcomes. The Kirkpatrick model was developed by Dr. Donald Kirkpatrick in the mid-50s as he was writing his PhD dissertation. His goal was to effectively measure the impact of the management development programs he was teaching at the University of Wisconsin. The following graph demonstrates how the 4 levels start at the end. So here we have Level 4, Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. Level 4. To what degree targeted outcomes occur as a result of the learning events and subsequent reinforcement. This basically means that whatever's learnt in training and on the job and those subsequent changes in behaviour, is that actually producing real life results for the business? Can they see it in monetary terms? Can they see it improved in WHS and workplace health safety? Is it measurable in some way as far as the mission statement goes for that business? Level 3 is behaviour. This is to what degree participants apply what they learn during the training and when they are back on the job. So this is probably one of the most important levels where what's learnt in the classroom, in the training environment, is brought into the work environment. The learning, level 2, to what degree participants acquire the intended knowledge, skills and attitudes based on their participation in the learning event. For example, in a classroom, or it could be an online course, whatever the training is that they've been given, and how much have they learnt, how much have they acquired. And it's interesting to note it's not just knowledge and skills, but it's also attitudes as well. Perhaps they're addressing bullying in the workplace or some kind of cultural difference from where they worked previously to the working environment that they are in now. And level 1 is reaction. To what degree targeted participants react favourably to the learning event. So the Kirkpatricks refer to this level 1 as the smiley sheet section. So, participants are given surveys to fill out, and they're encouraged to give answers in the first person, instead of saying, oh, the trainer's really good or the trainer's really bad. They're encouraged to talk about what they have acquired, what knowledge they think they've learnt, and whether or not it's relevant to their workplace, and also whether they enjoyed the course or not.
The level of involvement from the business cannot be underestimated at any stage, and really that ensures that the program isn't just a program that is plucked off the shelf. It's a program that is taken off the shelf and changed, manipulated so that it's fit for purpose. The program really understands the business, and the business really understands why this program is critical to the success of the particular business unit.
So essentially, what this manager is saying, that the involvement of business cannot be underestimated. In other words, it was quite the commitment on all of their behalves. According to Dr. Don Kirkpatrick, the ultimate intent of the 4 levels was then, and is today, to show the business value and worth of training. So here we have business-propelled training versus the traditional classroom.
The previous approach from the Aviation College was to come into the business, discuss the problem and deliver training that we felt was mutually suitable for the business. The approach wasn't necessarily wrong, but it really didn't get to the root cause of the problem. You used to use training as a support. We were all very, very busy in the day-to-day jobs that we do, and we would reach out to training believing that that's going to deliver the change that's needed. But in large units, you find that 6 months, 12 months later, by the time that the program's been delivered, that actually that wasn't the root cause of the problem.
So what the Emirates manager is saying in a nutshell is that in the past they have just blindly believed that training was going to make some kind of difference to the company. But, 6 to 12 months later, nothing really changed, and that they didn't really get to the root of the problem. Here we have Jim and Wendy Kirkpatrick, and they now own and operate Kirkpatrick Partners. And they've updated his father's work and called it the New World Kirkpatrick Model. Interesting to note that they've included confidence and commitment as part of Level 3 behaviour. They believe that training must reinvent itself and transcend the classroom to earn its budget and maintain its existence. Savvy business professionals and enlightened organisations know that training has no value unless what is learned gets applied on the job, and the subsequent on-the-job performance contributes to key organisational outcomes.
Should companies follow up much more after a training session? I mean, do they do that at the moment?
The answer is yes, they should, but there is still too much reliance on the training event and hoping that somehow when people go back to their workplace, they've learned something, they're automatically going to apply it. And you're exactly right, there should be some kind of post-training follow-up to encourage and compel and to reward and incent people to actually apply what they learned, and that is just not common enough, but it really is what drives results.
So the Kirkpatricks definitely believe in encouragement. They believe that getting the participants to apply what they've learnt on the job is what's going to drive results. If training evaluation shows that on-the-job performance increased and results improved, then training effectiveness has occurred. How would you know what success looks like if you don't define it? This was in response to a question that David Dewhurst asked, a Kirkpatrick certified facilitator. He asked the broader audience, why would you begin with the end in mind? New Zealand's largest intellectually handicapped IHC, not-for-profit organisation, shares its Kirkpatrick Level 4 result as advocate for the rights, inclusion and welfare of all people with an intellectual disability and support them to lead satisfying lives in the community. In effect, this is the mission statement, and that the training is evolving around this mission statement. The following question was asked of New Zealand IHC's Learning and Development Consultant. How did you know that service users, the clients, were achieving personal goals with staff support, and that the service managers were holding coaching conversations with staff when required, and that it was actually happening?
what were you looking for from service managers on the job?
We were looking to see that our service managers were actually coaching on the job as part of their everyday life, working life, and we wanted to see immediate application post-workshop. That was critical. We wanted to see them using the tools that were provided at the workshop that GMD provided to support their success. The majority of the managers realised that they needed to spend some more time and invest heavily in their staff, so that was something they were going to work towards. We wanted them to be using the personality tool, firstly to understand their staff better, and secondly to use the tool to determine the team dynamics and blind spots and the team personality preferences. We also wanted them to be using coaching for positive reinforcement of behaviour above and beyond what was expected.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So how did you talk about those conversations happening and people using the tools. How did you know that that was actually happening?
Okay. In discussions with the area manager, she was observing that in the workplace.
Yeah.
And feedback from her two weekly one-on-one meetings with her team. So that was at area manager level. Yeah. I worked with the team post 30 and post 60, supporting their coaching sessions, and it was obvious that the majority of the managers were coaching.
Yeah.
I also attended 2 team meetings in that 2-month period post the workshop, and what we discussed there was the progress and the if not, why not, and what were the barriers.
Yeah.
We looked at options for managing difficult situations, and the staff were also observed by their peers, so we knew that coaching was definitely happening.
Great, great. So that's sounding to me like after the workshop, there was a lot of effort going into what happened after the workshop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
And to be honest, there was resistance too because of the amount of time it took, and they're all very busy people. So we had to get through that. And once I started getting some examples and some real wins, some small wins, that they realised the value in it.
Great, excellent. Thanks, Gail. We've just put up on screen for you a summary of what some of the key points that Gail said, just so that you've got this as a record when we send out the recording.
The following are possible outcomes or objectives for training based on true organisational training needs analysis for Level 1. Improved employee retention, higher morale, fewer staff complaints, improved health and safety in the workplace, reduced waste, increased production, increased sales, decreased costs, less computer viruses, higher quality ratings. So this is a summary of the Kirkpatrick 4-level training evaluation model. It appears that management looks at training needs analysis collectively. They look at it together, as a team. To reassess the mission statement collectively, again as a team. To address real issues blocking the progress, and of course possible conflicts and resolutions resulting from looking at these issues. Builds closer working relationships, obviously as a result of working through conflicts and resolutions together as a team. Training and management aligned, so no longer do we have training in a sort of separate bubble, separate to the business. Now training is becoming accountable and one of the tools that the business can actually use to get ahead and reach its mission statements. And issues addressed, and therefore the mission accomplished. To access authentic Kirkpatrick resources, sign up with their official website, kirkpatrickpartners.com, and just scroll down to the bottom of their homepage to find the following message. You can see it there, and then when you see this, simply click here, just click on that. You need to register, give a little bit about yourself away to them. You get access to 60 or so free resources, which is where I got most of my material from. I hope you got something out of this presentation. Thanks for listening.